What matters today? Achieving best-in-class operational efficiency. JP Morgan's Treasury Services team can help you reduce costs in a challenging environment. Discuss your treasury needs with an expert. JP Morgan, caring about what matters to you today.
World financial markets change even when you're not at your desk. Bloomberg gives anyone a snapshot of what's moving, plus top news, charting, and ways to track their portfolio right on their iPhone or iPod Touch. Download the free Bloomberg application at the iTunes App Store and stay in touch with your money wherever you are. Bloomberg Mobile.
Bloomberg Television, the source.
Well, here's one undervalued asset for you. The Philippine peso has now been the forgotten currency so far this year, but Goldman Sachs says that may change. The U.S. bank says the peso may rise at 4.7% in the next 6 months to the highest level since 2008. Remittances from overseas workers may beat forecasts, which might help the peso. Also, the fiscal deficit concerns seem to be a bit overblown, according to Goldman Sachs. Now, CLSA says that investors should also keep an eye on Philippine stocks, in particular those consumer companies and the blue chips. And we welcome the #1 ranked Philippine researcher by Institutional Investor magazine, Alfred, CLSA's head of Philippines research, who's here in Hong Kong for their annual investors conference, joins us. Alfred, how's it going so far? Looking forward to Sarah Palin's speech.
Yes, that's going to be tomorrow lunchtime. Our conference is doing very well. Got about 1,000 clients, about 300 corporates. And for this conference, the Philippine team is actually taking 4 Philippine corporates. PLDT's with us, which is the biggest company back home. We have Globe Telecoms, which is the #2 telco play. We've got Ayala Land, which is the biggest property play,
right,
and the Manila Water, which is the leading utility back home.
All right. Well, tell me this. You say the Philippine stock market, the PSI, will gain another 20% by mid-2011.
I would like to believe so. I mean, there's still a lot of undervalued names in the Philippines. In fact, out of the 30 companies that we look at, there's still about 11 companies trading below book value. I mean, there's still a lot of value on the table. Second is because of the ongoing economic recovery right now, we expect earnings to improve moving forward. We're looking at about 10% earnings growth for 2010, maybe about 12 to 15% in about 2011. So I would like to believe that the next rally would be led by earnings.
And what about the peso? We kept talking about how undervalued it is. Goldman Sachs predicting maybe a 5% gain for the rest of this year. Is that going to boost stocks higher as well?
I would like to believe that.
How will that play out in the stock market?
Well, okay, because the Philippines, there's going to be a lot of beneficiaries whenever the peso appreciates.
Yeah.
Whenever the peso appreciates, purchasing power improves on the ground, and that's going to fuel further consumption. A lot of the companies that we're looking are either consumer companies and or quasi-consumer companies. Like companies like PLDT should do very well, Ayala Land should do very well. Companies like SM Prime, which is the biggest shopping mall operator, should also benefit from an improving consumer confidence.
Okay, and that's also boosted by the possibly a stronger peso, stronger currency.
Yes, also aided by improving remittances. I mean, remittances for the month of July hit $1.5 billion US. That's up maybe about 9% year on year. And if you look at remittances for the first 7 months of the year, it actually hit $10 billion US, up maybe about 4%.
Right. And what about the election year next year? Some people are looking at that as maybe a catalyst for the stock market.
I think it's a positive catalyst if you consider that there's going to be boost in terms of election spending. We made some rough numbers, and we think that election spending should amount to about $3 to $4 billion US dollars between now and May 2010, and that's about 1.5% of GDP. A lot of the companies that we're looking at as well should benefit as well from increased political spending. A lot of the politicians are now actually spending in terms of print ad, media ad, and this is going to trickle down to the masses.
Right.
And once it trickles down, there's going to be more consumption.
But yes, the spending, but it's also coming, they're also spending the budget as well, because we're expecting a record budget deficit this year. Isn't that a bit of a concern for people who want to invest in the company?
It's a bit of a concern because the deficit is coming from about 0.1, 0.2%. 2007 to about 3 to 4% this year. However, I think globally a lot of the countries are also undergoing this kind of deficit spending. So as long as this deficit spending doesn't continue perpetually, if it continues only for 1-2 years, I think it's okay because it's really meant to actually stimulate the economy.
Okay, well, let's get into your stock picks then, shall we? You mentioned these consumer stocks, and top of your list is PLDT, the telephone company, which some people say is pretty boring, except that it pays dividends.
Yeah, PLDT is still a good company to look at because there's still value in it. I mean, if you look at PLDT, it continues to trade at a 15 to 20% discount vis-a-vis its regional peers in terms of PE. Secondly, it's a quasi-consumer play. It's the leading mobile phone operator in the Philippines, and it's now entering the broadband space, which I think will be the next big play in the Philippines. Dividend is also quite high at about 6%. And I think that will still be one of our top picks in the market.
Yeah. And also you like these property plays as well.
Oh yes, Mega World, Philinvest Land, Distal Land, Robinsons Land. A lot of these companies are actually trading below book value.
How much below book value?
Well, okay, for example, Philinvest Land is about 40% below book. Mega World is about 20% below book. I actually understand that companies in Hong Kong, like property companies here, are actually trading at about 1.4, 1.5 times price to book. So I think those companies...
Actually more, I would suspect.
Probably more.
Yeah.
So I think those companies on a 12 to 24-month view, with the view that things will recover moving forward, I think should be considered to be a part of your portfolio as well.
And also you like some of the banking stocks. Well, I think you just mentioned one banking stock, Metro Bank.
Metro Bank is still a top pick in the banking sector. I mean, in a recovering economy, you want to own a bank because of higher loan growth and higher fee-based income. Metro Bank is also one of those undervalued situations we have. It's the second biggest bank in the Philippines, but it's only trading at about 1.1 times price to book.
Oh, wow.
I think regionally, I think maybe it's about 1.7, 1.8 as an average.
So there's a lot to look towards in terms of value in the
I would like to
Philippines.
believe so. That's why when people ask me about the market is up maybe about 50, 60% year to date.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that maybe short term it can correct, it can actually consolidate, but on a 1-2 year view, with, let's say, improving GDP as well as improving remittances, then I think these companies would still be good for another 15-20%.
How about that new venture into the gambling world? That
AGI.
Yeah, that's right.
AGI.
Allianz, is that how you pronounce it?
Alliance Global.
Alliance Group.
Yeah.
With Star Cruises, they set up a new gambling venture.
Actually, it's quite an exciting play. It's something unique in the Philippines because gaming has always been controlled by the government. Now you put it in terms of private sector, I think this group would probably have very good potential moving forward. I think this company is now trading maybe at about a 20-30% discount as well to their NAV.
Now, the names that you have mentioned to me, they're pretty big names. They're pretty large caps in the Philippine sense.
Yes.
What about the smaller ones? You said it's pretty hard to choose those. It's pretty much illiquid, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, there's one small cap company which probably I like right now. That's Rizal Commercial Banking Corp.
Rizal?
Yes, Rizal.
Named after the national hero, of course.
Yes. It's actually trading at about 0.6 times price to book. People are still a bit skeptical about the long-term story, but there's a new management team there which I think is doing a good job. And given a 1-2 year view on that stock, I think that stock is good for another 30-40%.
All right, Alfred, enjoy the rest of your conference here. I think you have Sheryl Crow coming up on
Thursday.
All right,
yes.
Good luck to you. That's Alfred Dye of CLSA. Now, coming up next here on the Bloomberg Edge, gold's rally last week has lost some of its steam, but it may get a boost from China, which has been quietly building its gold reserves and what may be a strategic shift away from the U.S. dollar. We'll get you that report in 2. Stay with us.
Let's